Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama, Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya Jagadguru, Savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text number 11. Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam hare namanukirtanam. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam Harer Namanukirtanam. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nitam Harer Namanukirtanam. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nirnitam harer namanukirtanam. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripanirnitam harer namanukirtanam. Etat, it is nirvidyamananam, of those who are completely free from all material desires. Ichchatam, of those who are desirous of all sorts of material enjoyment. Akuta bhayam, free from all doubts and fear. Yoginam, of all who are self-satisfied. Nripa, O king. Nirnitam, decided truth. Harehe, of the Lord Shri Krishna. Nama, holy name. Anu, after someone always. Kirtanam, chanting. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Please repeat this translation. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the previous verse, the great necessity for attaining attachment to Mukunda has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and thus are aloof from such an illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord Shri Krishna. In other words, the devotees of the Lord do not want anything on their personal account. If the Lord desires, the devotees can accept all sorts of material facilities, And if the Lord does not desire this, the devotees can leave aside all sorts of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. Nor are they self-satisfied, because they want the satisfaction of the Lord only. In this verse, Shukadeva Goswami recommends the transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord. By offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Lord, one becomes acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord, and then with the attributes of the Lord, and then with the transcendental nature of his pastimes, etc. Here it is mentioned that one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord after hearing it from authorities. This means that hearing from authorities is the first essential. Hearing of the holy name gradually promotes one to the stage of hearing about his form, his attributes, his pastimes, and so on, and thus the necessity of chanting of his glories develops successively. This process is recommended not only for the successful execution of devotional service, but also even for those who are materially attached. According to Sri Shukadeva Goswami, this way of attaining success is an established fact, concluded not only by him, but also by all other previous acharyas. Therefore, there is no need of further evidence. The process is recommended not only for the progressive students in different departments of ideological success, but also for those who are already successful in their achievement as fruitive workers, as philosophers, or as devotees of the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami instructs that chanting of the holy name of the Lord should be loudly done, and it should be performed offenselessly as well, as recommended in the Padma Purana. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself unto the Lord. One can deliver himself from all the offenses at the feet of the Lord by taking shelter of his holy name. But one cannot protect himself if one commits an offense at the feet of the holy name of the Lord. Such offenses are mentioned in the Padma Purana as being 10 in number. The first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. The second offense is to see the holy names of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. The Lord is the proprietor of all universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names, but that does not in any way qualify the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as the others, because they are all meant for the Lord. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there is no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular name of the Lord as it is locally understood. They are all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. The third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. The fourth offense is to vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. The fifth offense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of one's mundane calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be non-different from him. The sixth offense is to interpret the holy name. The Lord is not imaginary, nor is his holy name. There are persons with a poor fund of knowledge who think that the Lord to be an imagination of the worshipper, and therefore think his holy name to be imaginary. Such a chanter of the name of the Lord cannot achieve the desired success in the matter of chanting the holy name. The seventh offense is to commit sins intentionally on the strength of the holy name. In the scriptures it is said that one can be liberated from the effects of all sinful actions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effects of sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is the greatest offender at the feet of the holy name. Such an offender cannot purify himself by any recommended method of purification. In other words, one may be a sinful man before chanting the holy name of the Lord, but after taking shelter in the holy name of the Lord and becoming immune, one should strictly restrain oneself from committing sinful acts with a hope that his method of chanting the holy name will give him protection. The eighth offense is to consider the holy name of the Lord and his chanting method to be equal to some material auspicious activity. There are various kinds of good works for material benefits, but the holy name and his chanting are not mere auspicious holy services. Undoubtedly, the holy name is holy service, but he should be but he should never be utilized for such purposes. Since the holy name and the Lord are of one and the same identity, one should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind. The idea is that the Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. He is no one's servant or order supplier. Similarly, since the holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord, one should not try to utilize the holy name for one's personal service. The ninth offense, to instruct those who are not interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord about the transcendental nature of the holy name. If such instruction is imparted to an unwilling audience, the act is considered to be an offense at the feet of the holy name. The 10th offense is to become uninterested in the holy name of the Lord even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. The effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false egoism. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for enjoyment of one's self only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine, but the actual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakayat Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and all those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So, Srimad-Bhagavatam continues in its instruction. This second canto is practically the portion of the Bhagavatam where Shukadeva Goswami begins his instruction. In the first canto, in the 19th chapter, verses number 37 and 38, in these two verses, Parikshit Maharaj, who is cursed to die within 7 days, he is actually looking for guidance. And he comes to a particular place, and at that time, Parikshit Maharaj comes in contact with Shukadeva Goswami. So there, Parikshit Maharaj says that Ata Prichami Samsiddhim Yoginam Paramam Gurum. He is referring to Shukadeva Goswami. Purushasyeha yat karyam mriyamanasya sarvata. So Parikshit Maharaj is putting forward a question before Shukadeva Goswami and telling him, you are the spiritual master of the great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection of all persons, especially for one who is about to die. Because Parikshit Maharaj has been cursed, only 7 days are left in his life, so he needs to know what he is supposed to do in life. So he comes in touch with Shukadeva Goswami and puts forward this question. Please tell me what is the way of perfection for all persons, especially for someone who is about to die. And then in the next verse, Parikshit Maharaj says, Yat shrotavyam atho japyam yat kartavyam nribihi prabho smartavyam bhajaniyam va bruhiyat va viparyayam. Please tell me, please let me know what a man should chant, hear, remember and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. So these two questions Parikshit Maharaj puts in front of Shukadeva Goswami. And the Srimad-Bhagavatam is practically, the entire Bhagavatam is an answer to these two questions by Parikshit Maharaj. And Shukadeva Goswami starts speaking the Bhagavatam by telling Parikshit Maharaj, first by congratulating by Parikshit Maharaj and saying that your question is glorious. My dear king, your question is glorious. Wonderful questions you have asked. The exact words are, Variyan yeshate prashnaha krito lokahitam nripaha atmavit sammata pumsam shrotavyadishu yapparaha. Shukadeva Goswami says, my dear king, your question is glorious because it is beneficial to all kinds of people. Very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question, the answer to the question is the entire Srimad-Bhagavatam. So the entire Srimad-Bhagavatam, or the answer to this question, is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. So already Parikshit Maharaj has Parikshit Maharaj did not ask, what should I do? He directly asked, what should I hear, what should I chant, about whom I should hear. So the process is already narrowed down by Parikshit Maharaj as the process of hearing. And Shukadeva Goswami replied by saying, your question is glorious because it is beneficial to everyone. Then next few verses, Shukadeva Goswami explained what is the position of people who are materially engrossed. Materially engrossed means those who are blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth. What do? And most importantly, Shukadeva Goswami said that people who are materially engrossed or who have no knowledge of the ultimate truth, they have many subject matters for hearing. Shrotavyadini Rajendran Nranam Shanti Sahasrashaha. On one hand, the process of self-realization is to hear about Krishna. Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki. So, after congratulating Parikshit Maharaj and also telling Parikshit Maharaj that the answer to your question is the subject matter of hearing. So what should be heard is very explained clearly by Shukadeva Goswami. Then he goes on to say that people who are not interested in the ultimate truth, Nranam Shanti Sahasrasaha, they have many subject matters for hearing. And then what is their position, how they spend their lifetime, what they are doing, all those things. They are attached to so many different things. All these things after explaining, then further Shukadeva Goswami went on to say that one who desires free from all miseries, he must hear, glorify and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also he said that the highest perfection of human life is achieved by remembering Krishna at the time of death. Ante Narayana Smriti. Then one after another, by explaining all these things, next few verses, Shukadeva Goswami went on to say that at the end of Dwapara Yuga, I studied this great conversation, this great Vedic literature called Srimad-Bhagavatam from my father Vyasadeva. These are all Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami is replying to the two questions of Parikshit Maharaj. Because Shukadeva Goswami asked, Parikshit Maharaj asked, I am going to die. What should I do? About whom I should hear? About whom I should chant? About whom I should remember? Please tell me all these things. In answer to that, Shukadeva Goswami is giving the entire Bhagavatam. And before speaking the Bhagavatam, he is saying that I studied this great literature Bhagavatam from my father, Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. And I was situated perfectly in trance, yet I was attracted by the pastimes of the Lord. That means, although Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated person, he was situated in transcendence, he was beyond the three modes of material nature, still Shukadeva Goswami is saying, yet I was attracted by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Then again he says, that very Srimad-Bhagavatam I will recite before you because you are a sincere devotee of Krishna. And one who gives full attention and respect to hearing this Bhagavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. This also Shukadeva Goswami has been explained. So this is how the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami is taking place. And in this verse, Parikshit Maharaj is being given the instruction, the advice that, O king, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of material enjoyment, and those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So further, Shukadeva Goswami is qualifying his statements by saying that constant chanting of the names of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way and for success for all. And there, success for all, Prabhupada, in the translation, he says, two categories or three categories of people. Those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, those who are free from all material desires, and also those who are satisfied by the dint of transcendental knowledge. So basically, there are different categories of people in this world. There are those who are free from all kinds of material desires. For them also, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the way for further progress. There are others who are very desirous of material enjoyment. Even for such persons, chanting the holy name of the Lord is the recommended auspicious path. And also for those who are self-satisfied by transcendental knowledge or the jnanis. So this path of Sankirtana or constant chanting of the names of the Lord is auspicious and is the sure way of success, not only for those who want to go back to Godhead. Generally people have this idea, oh, this Hare Krishna people means they have simply given up everything and you should not have any desires and you should become completely, you should have only one desire of going back to Godhead. I have nothing to do with this world. This is all very difficult for me. Sometimes people get scared of this much, this kind of perception. But actually, that is not necessarily applicable for everybody. Because in this world, all kinds of people are there. There are people who want to go back to Godhead very seriously because they have understood that no matter how much successful I may become, how much materially powerful I may become, no matter how much material enjoyment I may get, old age, disease, death, these things are there. Any moment death can come, any moment my relatives can die, because ultimately in this world, enjoyment means with our friends and relatives. If there are no friends and relatives, then no matter how much money we may have, there is no question of enjoyment. If somebody is locked up in an island somewhere in Lakshadweep or somewhere in Andaman, if he is given all the material riches, still he cannot enjoy. Because somebody must be there to enjoy. That is why in the Bhagavad-gita also, in the first chapter, Arjuna, he tells Krishna, my dear Lord, you are asking me to fight this war so that I can get a kingdom. But if everybody is killed, all the soldiers are killed on both sides, after that even if I get all the kingdom and the riches, with whom will I enjoy? What is the use of such a opulence? So it's very clear. Material world enjoyment means there has to be other people, friends and relatives and society with whom we can enjoy together. So there is no question of enjoying alone. So there are people who have understood this point that ultimately, no matter how much rich, successful and opulent we may become, old age, disease and death are there. I may die any moment. My friends, my relatives and people who are very close to me, very dear to me, they may also die any moment. So where is the question of enjoyment when such uncertainty is hanging on our head? So such people are, who have understood the temporary nature of this world, they are very serious about going back to Godhead. Search for Shashwata, search for eternity. What is permanent? What is it that will never get destroyed? What is it that will never come and go? That search is there. That urge for that truth is there in one category of persons. So they also, by chanting the name of the Supreme Lord, they achieve perfection. Now there are others who may not be so in such a state of consciousness. They may still have a lot of desires to enjoy this material world, but the path of Sankirtana is auspicious for them also. So it is not that only people who have desire to go back to Godhead, only they can take to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, only they can chant 16 malas, only they can become Vaishnavas. It is not necessary. That perception, that feeling, that desire for giving up all material enjoyment and wanting to go back to Krishna and search for eternity may be there in some category of people. But that doesn't mean that others who want material prosperity, who want material enjoyment, they cannot take up the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One should never have this kind of a perception. Because Shukadeva Goswami is saying that the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including for those who are desirous of material enjoyment, is the constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So this point is especially essential to us when we are preaching Krishna consciousness. So this verse is very helpful for us, because when we go and preach Krishna consciousness, if we tell people that you have to give up all material enjoyment and then you have to go back to Godhead, this material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, no doubt which is a fact, which is a truth, but there can be a certain stage where we can reveal this truth to the person. Otherwise, somebody may not be inspired to take up Krishna consciousness. So therefore, what is it that we tell a person who is desirous of material enjoyment is very important. So as Bhagavatam is saying here, those who are desirous of material enjoyment, for them also, chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the auspicious and beneficial path. Why this point is very important? Because devoid of Sankirtana, devoid of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if people pursue the path of material enjoyment, that ends up in sinful activities. There are two kinds of material prosperity. One material prosperity which is bestowed by the mercy of the Lord. People perform Sankirtana and follow 4 regulative principles, and by the blessing of the Lord, there is some material prosperity. That material prosperity does not have any sinful reactions. There is another kind of material prosperity where there is no Sankirtana involved, there is no chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra involved, there is no spiritual, bona fide spiritual activity involved. Such material prosperity is actually filled with lot of sinful reactions. And when such material prosperity is mixed with lot of sinful reactions, it is actually not possible to enjoy life in a peaceful way, which is what is happening to world over, especially India. And this also was the case when Prabhupada went to America in the 1960s. When Prabhupada reached America in the 1960s, America was at the zenith of its economic power. Big buildings, very fast vehicles, very first-class vehicles. At that time, whatever was the latest technology, everything was available, plenty of food to eat, plenty of clothing, everything that one can desire, people had in plenty. But because there is no bona fide spiritual activity performed in the society, all this material prosperity was mixed with lot of sinful activity, particularly animal killing, that is meat eating, intoxication, drug addiction, illicit relationships, and gambling. So when material prosperity is performed mixed with all kinds of sinful activity, one cannot really enjoy life. One cannot really enjoy life. There will be so many reactions. Prabhupada writes in one place that by the dictation of the illusory energy, money which is earned in sinful ways, people perform papa karma and then earn money, such money, Prabhupada says, by the dictation of the illusory energy, is taken away by the agents of Maya. And Prabhupada lists who are all the agents of Maya. And he goes on to say, medical practitioners, that is doctors, lawyers, tax authorities of the government. Prabhupada says these are all agents of Maya. And people who try to become rich by performing sinful activity, by hook or crook, they get up a lot of money. What happens? The agents of Maya chase such people and give them a lot of suffering. Particularly, Prabhupada mentions these categories of people: doctors, medical practitioners, lawyers, and tax authorities appointed by the government. So what happens when these agents of Maya are continuously chasing a person who has performed a lot of papa karma? He cannot actually peacefully enjoy all the money he has earned. So this is what is happening to the current world scenario. India also, as a country, a lot of aspirations are there in the people of this country today, that we will become an economic powerhouse, we will become very powerful, we'll have our own technology, we'll have our own machinery, we shall become self-sufficient in manufacturing. So many such aspirations are there. The whole country is now sensing that now, after years of subjugation, we have got an opportunity to become economically powerful. So a lot of aspirations are there. And people, by their dint of their hard work, people are becoming prosperous also. But it should be remembered that all such material prosperity, if it is mixed with sinful activity or papa karma, then it is not actually possible to enjoy all those things in a peaceful way. As Prabhupada says, agents of illusory energy, doctors, medical practitioners, lawyers, and tax authorities are always behind such people who have performed sinful activity and earned the money, and therefore people cannot enjoy in a peaceful way. So we see in our country, on one hand, people are very capable, people are very intelligent, they can work very nicely, they can create wonderful buildings, they have the knowledge by which they understand this body much better, very capable surgeons are there, capable doctors are there, capable engineers are there, all kinds of very talented and capable persons this country is producing. But because there are no brahmanas in the society to guide the people, what is punya karma, what is papa karma, and if you perform papa karma, the reactions will come. Therefore, this higher guidance is not there, so therefore people blindly perform sinful activities. And these sinful activities are particularly of 4 types, as Bhagavatam says, Dyutam Panam Striyasuna Yatra Papas Chaturvidha. Meat eating, intoxication, illicit relationships, and gambling. So if people perform sinful activities and also try to enjoy in a sinful way, and by performing sinful activities they acquire a lot of material prosperity, it is not really possible to enjoy life in a peaceful way. So we see in our country now, so many health issues are there, so many youngsters are getting addicted to drugs, alcohol, families are collapsing, everywhere we see the divorce rates are increasing, adultery is increasing, people are husband and wife are not faithful to each other, gambling is on the rise, suicide cases are on the rise, depression cases are on the rise, violence is on the rise. All these things are happening in our country because this lack of sankirtana in their life. So material prosperity minus sankirtana is only going to bring about suffering, which Prabhupada already experienced. When Prabhupada went to America in the 1960s, America was a very prosperous nation, very prosperous society. People were very rich, they had enough money. But minus Sankirtana, minus chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there is no question of peace and happiness in their country. In fact, the youngsters were getting frustrated. They had all money, they had all riches, but they were so frustrated, they became drug addicts and they were lying down on the streets. So, as they say, history repeats itself. India also is going through a similar phase. People are becoming materially prosperous. People are able to perform wonderful activities. Wonderful buildings they're able to create, wonderful technology they're able to create. But if all this is not backed or simultaneously, if the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not introduced in their lives also will become the way the hippies were suffering in the 1960s. So this is a very important lesson that Srila Prabhupada went to America at a time when material economic prosperity had reached a certain zenith, a certain pinnacle. And at that time, Prabhupada went and demonstrated to the whole world that mere material prosperity without the chanting of the Supreme Lord's name will only end in suffering. So at least Indians today, they should take lesson from this transcendental pastime of Srila Prabhupada, from this activity which Prabhupada performed, and ensure that by all means everybody takes up to the Sankirtana movement in all seriousness. Otherwise, the way the society is going, the way the people are progressing, if people don't take to the Sankirtana movement, if they don't take to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and only run behind material prosperity, then all such material prosperity will be mixed with sinful activities. And material prosperity mixed with sinful activity will always end in misery. So Bhagavatam is giving a very instructive lesson for all of us, that not only those who want to go back to Godhead and renounce this world and become completely detached from all material enjoyment, the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is beneficial not only for such people, but even those who are desirous of material enjoyment. If they take to Sankirtana very seriously and follow the 4 regulative principles, then such material enjoyment is actually possible. Otherwise, without chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in Kali Yuga, people perform 4 sinful activities: meat eating, intoxication, illicit connection, and gambling. And economic prosperity mixed with sinful reaction will only result in suffering. Particularly, Prabhupada mentions the agents of Maya in the form of medical practitioners, lawyers, and tax people will always be behind such people. So there is no question of peace and happiness. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Ashantasya kuta sukham. If there is no shanti, there is no question of sukham. So this is the final verdict of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Whether somebody is desirous of material enjoyment or somebody wants to renounce all material enjoyment, one has to wholeheartedly take to chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the sure and auspicious path for everyone. So we'll stop here. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.